much. It's 14 minutes to 8.
We've heard a lot in recent weeks about planning, mostly about the planning of houses and the trouble it's landed us in. Bad planning, over-planning, corrupt planning even. Well, a big project to try and make good on one of the worst cases of city planning here, Ballymun in North Dublin, is running into trouble. The plan was to tear down the tower blocks, rehouse all the residents, build new roads, parks and more, and have it all done by 2014. But that's looking unlikely now because of cutbacks. Local Fianna Fáil councillor Cllr McAuliffe is on the phone. Paul, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gavin.
19 million cut in their budget for this year, €50 million worth of work deferred. That's a very big cut. Were you expecting this?
I suppose over the past couple of weeks there had been some noise coming from both Ballymun Regeneration and the department that a substantial cut was on the cards. I think people have been taken aback by the size and the scale of it, particularly conscious of the fact that there are still people living in the old flat blocks, and also that the infrastructure of regeneration, the Ballymun Regeneration company itself, it will conclude in 2014. And I suppose that figure of 31 units, the final housing phase which is required, the department have come back to us and said that they will not fund that final phase and that we must now go cap in hand to one of the voluntary housing associations.
Sorry, Paul, just to be clear, 31. This is 31 families who need to be rehoused, but they're in a bit of a limbo now.
Yeah, there's 275 families in total that have to be rehoused. We reckon with projects already approved and those small number that have been approved this week, there'll be 31 short. So that they will encompass people who are already in the old flats, and also people who were placed in temporary accommodation in the surrounding area so that they weren't left in a vulnerable state in empty or half-empty blocks.
So where are they going to go now?
Well, that is the question. I believe Ballymun Regeneration are in discussions with one of the voluntary housing associations.
Cllr, yes.
Yeah, but there's no confidence around that. That's the first time which many local councils have heard of that proposal, and I suppose many people in Ballymun are fearful that that won't amount to anything anytime soon. And the real fear is that all of these projects were part of the master plan which were agreed in 1997. They formed part of the costing submitted to the department over the last 3 or 4 years. And really, the worry would be, as I said, that if the infrastructure of regeneration is gone, who will be responsible for delivering those final 31 houses, and also the many other good projects like parks and road realignment and drainage, which are very necessary to complete the master plan.
Okay, I mean, these are the last things to finish as part of this project, and it shouldn't be taking this long. But overall, has it been worth the money? Has Ballymun been regenerated?
Well, I think, and I would invite anybody to come out to Ballymun, it really is a very changed place. There's over 2,000 people will have been rehoused by the end of it. A new theatre, 2 hotels in Ballymun. 15 years ago, you perhaps couldn't have imagined that. And I think that's why it's so important to complete these last final pieces of the jigsaw, so that we don't repeat the mistakes of the 1960s when key pieces of infrastructure weren't put in place. And I would be appealing to the government. There are allocations made to councils around the country, and perhaps those projects aren't shovel-ready. We have a shovel-ready project. This government was elected to put in place those shovel-ready projects. Allocate the money before the regeneration company comes to an end. Allow us to get jobs and the housing completed. And I believe that then the project, Europe's largest regeneration project, will be something that will be able to be copied, studied, and, as I say, looked up to.
Cllr McAuliffe, Councillor Cllr McAuliffe in Dublin, thank you very much for speaking to us. It's just coming up to 8 minutes to 8, and Emma McNamara is back.